In the midst of the debate over the exact location of biblical Bethsaida, the archaeological discoveries and the geographic reality of the site of El Araj, situated on the northeastern shore of the Sea of Galilee, almost definitively meet the identifying criteria of lost Bethsaida. It is the hometown of Saints Peter and Andrew, disciples of Jesus as the Gospels recount. Archaeologists Professor Mordecai Aviam of Kinneret Academic College and Dr. Stephen Notley, Academic Director of the project, discovered a 5th century Byzantine church containing a mosaic with a Greek inscription mentioning the preeminence of St. Peter.
This is the earliest archaeological evidence of that belief, that Peter was the chief of the apostles. And the only reason Peter would be referenced here in this church again is the idea we hear in John's Gospel of Peter coming from Bethsaida.
After the discovery of the inscription mentioning Peter's title, the one who carries the keys of heaven, we can say with certainty that this is the church visited by Willibald, where he stayed overnight in the monastery. The archaeological excavations revealed walls beneath the church. The oldest ones date back to the 1st century AD, the time of St. Peter.
As Christians, it's very important the discovery of the church with inscription mentioning St. Peter. This is very important because it means for Christians there was a memory, not only of the house of Peter and Andreas in Capernaum, but another memory in the place where the apostles were coming from, which is Bethsaida.
The site will be developed by the Nature and Parks Authority. This will allow hundreds of thousands of pilgrims from around the world to come here and admire the archaeological findings and the site itself.
In late July, as director of the excavation, Dr. Stephen Notley prepared to excavate again at Bethsaida, a wildfire raged for 17 hours.
We arrived on Friday evening, the sun was going down. We looked across the lake and saw there was a fire here. So my wife and I got in the car and drove around here and drove to the entrance and saw the eucalyptus trees here at El Araj going up in flames. And, oh my goodness, this is going to upend all of our excavation. It was crazy, and it wasn't until the next day that we saw sort of the extent of it.
What did you find after the fire, and did that kind of help the excavation?
Yes, indeed. After the fire was down and we could walk in the burnt area, we found over there what we didn't know. We found the remains of Bethsaida Julius, remains of walls on surface with some stones that probably came from public buildings. We also know that it is from the Roman period because we dug a few years ago on that side and some years ago on that side, that everything from surface is Roman period.
What was fascinating though is that the fire came and approached the basilica where we're sitting, and it came right up to the tarps laying beside the walls and stopped. No one can explain it. And it's like, Multi sort of says, it was the hand of God stopped it from burning the basilica. And suddenly we could see the extent of the settlement. I like to refer to it as that God gave us beauty for ashes.
It's a great way to put it.
Yeah, it's had a tremendous sort of benefit to us in terms of understanding the extent of the settlement here.
The wildfire opened up new possibilities.
I'm not a religious person, and I'm not a Christian, but I think that when I have Christians visiting the place and I show them the inscription and I show them the houses from the 1st century, I can feel the emotions.
Archaeologists began digging here in 2016. In 2022, they uncovered a mosaic, actually right here, with an inscription honoring Peter as keeper of the keys underneath a Byzantine church. This was a key clue that this was the Bethsaida of the Bible.
This is a dramatic, maybe the most dramatic moments of the dig.
Yeah.
As we are working in a church, and I had my own experience with many churches excavating in the Galilee during the years, I knew that there are inscriptions. So we were looking for them. We found half one over there, a small piece over here. So I assumed that we lost most of the information until we dug this room, and at the last day, at the last hour, we discovered this inscription.
I see some of the writing.
Yeah, you see?
Yeah. Oh, wow. There it is. Wow, you get chills seeing that.
It was put here sometimes in the 6th century, late 6th century.
Yeah.
Every inscription is interesting and important. This one became rare and has a great importance to the site and to the Christian world.
Yeah. Is this the first time you've seen anything like this?
Yes, for me, of course. But there is no other inscription in the East Mediterranean with the name or the title of St. Peter. It's the only place where it is mentioned as the keeper of the keys.
Yeah, look at that.
I can tell you what the inscription is about. A guy named Constantine made the mosaic of this diaconicon. This is the room called diaconicon.
Yeah.
For the name of his children. He is a Jesus believer and believer of the heavenly apostles and the keeper of the keys. Boom. When we were sitting here and scratching letter by letter, tessera by tessera, and when the letters apostles came out in Greek, everyone was like a rocket sent to the sky.
With the inscription safe from the fire, Dr. Aviam decided to explore further to see what they could learn.
We went to the burnt area, still smoke in the air, smell. We came out almost completely black, all clothes, face, hands. But what we discovered was very important. We discovered how large the site is. With remains of houses, pottery here and there, tells us that the site is much, much, much bigger than we thought.
Professor Stephen Notley, a New Testament scholar and historian, was the first to propose that this site could be the biblical Bethsaida. His deep belief in the accuracy of the gospel accounts guided the search.
Part of historical geography is reading the history. So I read the sources, the eyewitnesses who had actually walked the streets of Bethsaida, both the New Testament, which tells us where it was. It was on the other side, beyond the Jordan, on the northeast corner of the lake. Josephus, the Jewish historian, actually tells us how far we are from the Jordan River. So it's a very simple thing of sort of establishing that, bringing those together, and exploring and seeing, starting to dig, and seeing if the evidence that comes up out of the ground matches the historical description, which this place does.
So you just simply read?
Read.
Yeah.
And it's, again, the New Testament is part of those eyewitness accounts. The Gospels are indicating certain Jesus's movement coming here. And if we read them carefully and have an eye to the land, a lot of things open up to us.
What does it mean to believers that you've discovered this?
I think for many people, they find that it strengthens their faith, to find that there is here evidence of what I call a continuous living memory. We come out of the Roman period, 1st, 2nd, 3rd century. We have Eusebius remembering Bethsaida as the home of Peter, Andrew, and Philip. We have it remembered in the church. We have a continuity of memory that continues here, that speaks back to the past and gives us something, a better understanding of the physical setting, the stage onto which Jesus stepped and ministered. His followers came from here. Again, a quarter of Jesus' disciples came from this village. And I think for believers, it's another piece of evidence that reinforces and strengthens our faith.
What does it mean to you?
I'm a person who's a person of deep faith. The Israeli archaeologists all know it. I make no secret about it. They understand that is a motive for me. It's something that motivates me in terms of my work. My career has been invested in that, trying to understand better the Gospels as they unfold in this land, in terms of land and culture and language. And so when I encounter these things, it reinforces for me the reality of my faith. That it's not pie in the sky, it's not fiction, it's not myth. It's something that has substance to it, physicality to it.
Yeah. Are the stones speaking?
Absolutely. I believe so. I think so. I think they cry out, and they speak to us of the truth. Again, we can understand Jesus' message, the call on each one of our lives. I think it becomes more profound and more clear the more that we understand.
Regent University visiting scholar Dr. Carrie Wood is also hearing from the stones. What are the stones telling you?
The stones here are telling me that there was life here, that people lived here, that they fished here, that they had community here, that they were concerned with ritual purity, because in this square here, we found stone vessels, which of course cannot become impure. We found an inkwell. Now, why is that important? Because for years, people have said, oh, they're Galileans, they're kind of hicks from the sticks, so to speak, and they're uneducated. Jesus and his disciples are uneducated. However, an inkwell says they're literate and they're educated. Now, in contrast, we have one, Qumran only had two. And so for us to have that was exciting. We had fishing weights, and when you combine those, you've got this beautiful picture of a Jewish, ritually pure, people who are wanting to be ritually pure, fishing village that is literate, that is happening here in Phillips area.
Do you see people coming here as the destination?
They've already started. This morning when you arrived, we have a group from Austria. Yesterday we had a group from all over the world. There was a collection of a group from all over the world. Every day, can I be honest? Sometimes I wish there weren't so many groups, because I want to dig. I'm here wanting to dig, but they keep coming. They're increasing. It doesn't matter what part of the church they are. They seem to be coming here. Israelis are coming here. They want to see what's here. They're very interested in it. It's already, and to get here, the gate requires them to walk a kilometer in, so they're making a great effort to come and see this place.
Dr. Wood says being here helps her bring the world of the New Testament to life in a way that books alone never could.
I teach New Testament, and I stay mainly in the Gospels and Acts, although I've done Pauline epistles as well. It helps me bring Jesus, I say this quite a bit because it was in my dissertation, in his time and space to the students, to lay out the spatial and the temporal background of the Gospels, to actually get into that time, because often we read the Gospels from a 21st century mindset. And so if I can get them to read it in the first century, and I say, okay, who wrote it? What did they mean when they said it? How did the original hearers, readers, see it? And now what do we take from this today? But what is it in its context first? Now, what does God have for us today?
How does it make you feel?
Well, it becomes dimensional. It's not just words on a page. The Bible is true. Archaeology shows us and strengthens the Word of God. Not that we really need it, because we have the Holy Spirit, but it reveals and strengthens. I can tell students, look, here it is, and this is where it is. I am encountering Jesus in his time and space when I'm here.
For the historians and scholars, each stone uncovered confirms the truth of the Bible. And for archaeologist Moti Aviam, Bethsaida marks one of the crowning moments of his life's work.
There are some highlights during my career. There are many interesting. As a matter of fact, there's not a dull moment in archaeology. Every place you go, every place you survey, every place you dig. But there are some picks and discoveries over here of the Byzantine church and the inscription in it, and the discovery of the Roman period levels of Bethsaida is one of the peaks of my career.
Almost all of the biblical sites disappeared in the centuries. They were destroyed, abandoned, forgotten, and only in the middle of the 19th century, visitors, explorers, people came out and they began to rediscover the Holy Land. So all of these sites have only been discovered in the last 100 to 150 years. And so we're at, if you will, we're at the end of that tsunami. We're at the end of that process of rediscovery. And this is the last city mentioned in the Gospels that no one knew where it was.